crown thee now, thine shall the glory be. Lest I forget thy thorn-crowned brow, lead me to Calvary. Lest I forget Gethsemane, lest I forget thine agony, lest I forget thy love for me. Lead me to Calvary. Show me the tomb where thou wast laid, tenderly mourned and wailed. Angels in robes of light arrayed guarded thee whilst thou slept. Lest I forget Gethsemane, lest I forget thine agony, lest I forget thy love for me. Lead me to Calvary.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is an excellent day to serve an excellent God in and with the spirit of excellence. Good morning. I am Chaplain Sherry, Coach Sherry, your community pastor Sherry. I am Sherry from the 800 block of Mooney Avenue. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good midnight. Whatever your case may be, I pray that all is well with you. Good morning, Joy. So glad that you are here with me this morning on our second day of Lent. I pray that all was well with you in your first day. I pray that you had an opportunity to give yourself grace. If things did not go well yesterday, listen, that's okay. We are not in a project. We are trying to develop healthy spiritual practices and a healthy spiritual being. So I pray that if you are finding value in this, that you will like, share, you will tag, you will bring someone from your clique, your circle, or your crew into this space so that they too may find value in this. Listen, if this is your first time stumbling in this space, remember that while you may see me applying makeup, this has nothing to do with makeup tools, tips, or techniques. I'm just trying to do 2-3 things at one time. So again, good morning. Today on our second day of Lent, using Alicia Britt Cole's 40 Days of Decrease, we are fasting from regret. We are fasting from regret. But before we talk about regret, I want to talk about something that we say that during this Lenten season, we are entering into a journey with Jesus as Jesus is headed toward the cross. We are in a small way in our fasting, we are allowing ourselves to feel the discomfort that Jesus experienced going toward the cross. And what we need to know during this season, that this season is about grief. Get that? It is about conflict. It is about misunderstanding, betrayal, restriction, rejection, and pain. I want to list that again because unlike Advent, unlike the anticipation and the joy around Advent and Christmas, during this season, that sweet little baby boy that was born in a manger is headed to a violent death. In this time, it is filled with grief, conflict, misunderstanding, betrayal, restriction, rejection, and pain. This is not silent night, sleeping in heavenly peace. I want to say this again because many times we try to avoid feeling the feelings when life hits us in a certain way. We really engage in what is called spiritual bypassing. And spiritual bypassing eventually does more harm than good. So what do I mean by spiritual bypassing? I promise we're going to get to regret. Spiritual bypassing is a tendency for us to use spiritual explanation, a whole lot of spiritual words or cliches to avoid dealing with psychological or emotional, unresolved emotional issues. I'll say that again. In order for us not to experience grief, not to deal with our feelings that comes with the loss of a loved one, the loss of a person, place, or thing, to avoid conflict, to avoid dealing with the real feelings of betrayal, to deal with the real feelings of that comes with rejection and pain, we use a lot of spiritual platitudes. We use a lot of spiritual explanation. We try to explain everything away by using spiritual language. Here's what I mean, for example. And this is a big one, and I see it all the time, especially as I work in the hospital. When someone is facing a terminal illness, or when someone is dying, either we ourselves or some well-meaning church member or Christian uses phrases like, well, they're gone to a better place. I remember when I had a miscarriage and I lost my baby, and then I ended up not being able to have children anymore. People would tell me, well, you can get another child. Well, but that doesn't explain what's happening to me right then. And so what happens is, in order for us to feel real spiritual or real saved, we will buy into that. But it doesn't take away the pain. It does not take away the pain of loss. So, or we'll use words like, good morning, Felicia. Everything happens for a reason. Or God knows what's best. Have you ever used those phrases, or someone has told you those phrases when you are at your best? Now listen. It's a thin line, and sometimes we do use those as defense mechanisms. And I'm not saying that our spiritual beings and our religious practices certainly help us to navigate these things. But when we solely use them at the expense of dealing with what's real, we end up dealing with the grief, the conflict, the misunderstanding, the betrayal, the rejection, the restrictions, and the pain. We end up in a deeper place. So while those things can certainly help us, and you know I'm all about Jesus and therapy. I'm all about Jesus and therapy. Because if we are mind, body, and soul, all those parts have to be working in alignment for us to be healthy, for us to be whole. So today, I want you to think about all of those things, or sometimes the phrases that you yourself have used to bypass, right? To bypass, to jump over what's really going on. Eventually, my friends, we have to call a thing. And we have to deal with it. So today, that's just part one. Our fast today, are y'all with me today? I pray that this is blessing you. This time is blessing you. When we So today we are fasting from regret. We're fasting from regret. What is regret? So I told you during this season of fast, we're not worried about candy and sweets and meat and social media and coffee, because we got some things that we really need to deal with in order to develop healthy spiritual practices and a healthy spiritual way of being in our quest to become closer to God. We're fasting from things that are meaningful and will be able to go past these 40 days. Because at the end of the 40 days, we're not about checking off no box. We want to live beyond the 40. We want to live beyond the 40. And so today we are fasting from regret. Can somebody say regret? We are fasting from regret. So what is regret? What is regret? Good morning, Minister Kelly. So glad to see you in this space today. What is regret? Regret is blaming ourselves for bad outcome, feeling a sense of loss or sorrow of what might have been, or wishing we could have undo a previous choice we made. Let's say that again. Let's say that again. Regret is blaming ourselves for a bad outcome, feeling a sense of loss or sorrow of what might have been, wishing we could undo a previous choice we made. You see, regret, Alicia Cole-Britt says, empties anticipation, flattens dreams, and suffocates hope. Because regret is a form of self-punishment. Regret is a form of self-punishment, that we are stuck in the past rather than moving toward the future, even though that thing did take place. What hindsight helps us learn from the past, regret beats us up with the past. Oh my God. Regret beats us up with the past. Because we are spending so much time thinking about stewing in a past decision, wishing that we could undo it. Let me tell you something. No matter what that decision was, we made the decision based upon the information that we had at the time. We made the decision based upon the information that we had at the time. And perhaps if you had additional information, you may have made a different decision. But you can't. And you didn't. So, regret causes us to mourn the death, to punish the younger self for past acts. Regret causes us to mourn the death, to punish the younger self for past acts. And so, certainly, there is a healthy form of regret. Because we always, boy, I sure wish I had not done that. And then you move on. But regret causes us to stay stuck that every day, all day, when we go to sleep, when we wake up, whatever we do, whether it we focus on that one act and what we wish we coulda, woulda, shoulda. And my friends, we will never get that back. However, there are things that we can learn. There are lessons that we should be learning from those things so that we will not do them again, so that we can move forward. So today, during our fast, our prayer is that God will remove those unhealthy feelings of regret so that we can move on to the new relationship, to the new job, to the new way of being in ourselves. And that means we may have to release other people so that we can live a fulfilling life. Now listen, that's all I got for you today. That's all I have for you. That we are not going to engage in spiritual bypassing. We are not going to use these religious phrases and these spiritual platitudes, these cliches, especially when the feelings are real. Good morning, Robert. So blessed to see you this morning, my classmate and friend. We are not using spiritual bypassing or spiritual explanation. We're not quoting the scripture every time we feel hurt, angry. We're experiencing grief, conflict, misunderstanding, betrayal, rejection, restriction, and pain. I'm not telling you don't engage scriptures, because through God's word we can find healing. However, we're not going to do it just because we want to avoid dealing with the real. We don't want to call a thing a thing. Because let me tell you, what I have experienced I need to get off of this. One of the biggest problems that people face when they are experiencing a terminal illness, or they are experiencing loss, or they are facing death, is they don't want to call a thing a thing. How you doing today? Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm just flowing in increase. I'm just, And the favorite one is, oh, I'm not worried. God got this. What brings you to the hospital? Oh, I'm doing fine. Fine? What do you mean you're doing fine? You're in the hospital. You got tubes all up and down you, and you can hardly breathe. You're not fine. See, for the first time, I am giving them permission to call a thing a thing. And when they feel safe to tell me, Chaplain, I'm not doing good at all. I'm scared. Because they think that when they see me coming to in the room as the chaplain, they automatically put up a defense mechanism that I have to break down. No, baby, you're not doing fine, because if you were fine, you've been out of the Mardi Gras parade. But you here in this hospital. So what's really going on? And then they laugh. And what they're really expressing is a sense of freedom to call a thing a thing. So actually today, and they really go together, we are fasting from spiritual bypassing, and we are fasting from regret. Now, y'all be blessed. I got to go on and finish this face, because as long as I'm talking to y'all, I can't do what I need to do. Y'all be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same space. Like, share, tag. Bring somebody in this space, especially those you know are stewing over past decisions, and they can't get past. If you can't remember anything else, tell them these words: that hindsight allows us to learn from the past, but regret keeps us stuck in the past. Y'all be blessed. May all be well.